Well, hello there, Space Monkeys. Good morning. Welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm Robert Durden. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about journalists. And as you guys know, my whole season 2 has been dedicated to priority number 1, protecting and promoting our journalists. In the era of censorship, we must do that, and it's getting worse. And the propaganda apparatus in this country is in overdrive right now. $1 billion propaganda apparatus is at work, censoring the people that are telling the truth and also promoting their lies. So today we're going to be doing updates on some good things that are happening in the world of journalism here that I think will get you guys kind of excited and will make you happy. But there is some bad news, and this is the worst news. And if I were to ask you guys what you want first, bad news or the good news, you'll take the bad news up front. So the bad news is that a UK court magistrate has decided that Julian Assange can be extradited to the United States. So what happens next? This is very bad news, but not unexpected. We kind of expected this was going to happen. It's going to either be appealed by Julian's team, and it will go to the Supreme Court, who will absolutely not overturn the decision, and then it goes to Home Secretary's desk, which is Priti Patel, or his team decides not to, in fact, challenge it, appeal it, and it skips the Supreme Court and then goes to Priti Patel's desk anyway. So I'm going to read you here very briefly from Yahoo News. UK court orders Julian Assange to be extradited to the US. A judge at the UK Westminster Magistrates Court ruled on Wednesday for Julian Assange to be extradited to the US, the AP and CNN report. Assange faces 18 charges in the U.S. where he is accused of conspiring to hack government computers and breaching the Espionage Act when WikiLeaks published a trove of confidential military and diplomatic documents in 2010. He faces up to 175 years in prison if he is convicted. The decision on whether to extradite Assange now lies with the UK Home Secretary, Priti Patel, which, by the way, she's a hardcore right-winger. Methinks she doesn't give much of a damn about press freedom and the freedom of speech, which is why this is very scary. But guys, there is something we can do. Let me finish up real quickly right here. But Assange can still appeal Wednesday's decision, again, CNN and the AP report. Now, like I said, that's something they may choose not to do, because if they appeal to the High Court, or the Supreme Court, they will not be successful. It's a stopgap of a few weeks at best. The High Court in London ruled in January that Assange could appeal an earlier court ruling that he can be extradited to the US, but the UK Supreme Court refused to hear the case in March. Okay, so what can we do here, guys? No matter what, it's going to end up on the desk of Priti Patel. We must call her and email her so much that her office is flooded with emails and calls. I want that phone to ring off of its hook. It must be ringing constantly. If we can do that, and we flood her email with a bunch of emails insisting that Julian not be extradited, then we might have a chance at influencing this. But there has to be thousands, hundreds of thousands of calls and emails sent to her. I've already written her, and I'll tell you kind of what I said. I said, listen, this is not a death sentence, but it is a death sentence. You're not banging the gavel and sentencing Julian to death. If you extradite him, he will die, and you know it. It's as good as a death sentence. So, and here's the other thing, guys, why this is so important. If you, Priti Patel, allow Julian to die, you are, in fact, setting the precedent that you're allowing a journalist who has committed no crime and is not, in fact, a spy, to die via suicide, which means press freedom and the First Amendment don't mean shit anymore if you do this. That's the last nail in the coffin for press freedom and freedom of speech. So that's what I said. Don't extradite him. You know it's as good as a death sentence, and you know not just symbolically, but like the precedent this sets and what this will do to journalists across the world. If you allow him to suicide, that proves that if you dig up dirt on the United States or a superpower and embarrass them because of their war crimes or other sensitive information, that they will basically just wage a campaign to either ruin your life or literally kill you. That's the precedent you're setting. So I'll leave her information below. Everybody needs to send her an email, call her office. Any way you can contact her, insist that Julian not be extradited. This is super important. So that's the bad news, guys. There is some good news that came out today. 2 stories that are kind of uplifting. As of this morning, Gonzalo Lira is alive and well. So Gonzalo Lira, if you aren't familiar, he was a journalist who was on the ground in Ukraine doing great work, and he went missing about a week ago, last Friday, I believe, and there were whispers that he had been picked up by possibly Nazis, by Ukrainian SBU, which is just their, secret police force, and that possibly they would be torturing him. We couldn't confirm what had actually happened, but everybody that was online that had been in contact with him could verify that no one had been in contact with him since last Friday. He is alive and well, but they did pick him up. That the SBU did pick him up, so I'm just going to read to you here quickly. He was on a show this morning, but this is good news. He is alive and well. He's not allowed to leave the country, is basically what happened, and he isn't allowed to talk about what happened when he was where he was with the SBU. So let's read you here. Chilean-American blogger Gonzalo Lira, who went missing in the Ukrainian city of Kharkov a week ago, has appeared online on Friday, revealing that he had been held by the Ukrainian security service, the SBU. Quote, "I'm in Kharkov, I'm okay. I just want to say that I'm back online," Lira said in a short video. In a short video chat with journalist Alex Christoforou on the Duran channel. Quote, "I was picked up by the SBU on Friday, April 15th, the blogger revealed. Speaking about his condition, the 54-year-old said that he was fine physically, but a little rattled and a little discombobulated. Lira made it clear that he was forbidden from revealing any details about what had happened to him in detention. Quote, "I'm still in Kharkov, and for the time being, I cannot leave. The authorities here told me I cannot leave the city." Oh, so he can't even leave Kharkov. Adding that his computer and phone were taken away and that he didn't have access to his accounts on social media. Quote, "There seems to have been like a lot of interest in my case, which is wonderful, thank you, but there are a lot of other people who are frankly more deserving of that attention," the blogger said. Lira was referring to his tweet from March 26th, in which he listed the names of Ukrainian opposition figures who are thought to have died or disappeared since the outbreak of the conflict, adding that, quote, "If you haven't heard from me in 12 hours or more, put my name on this list." So that's what he got in trouble for, but he is okay. Thank goodness. His new, there's some fake accounts out there on Twitter. His actual account is at Gonzalo Lira 1968. I will put that below, re-add him, but thank goodness he's okay. I was very, very worried. Most of us were very worried. We did not know if the worst had happened, but there were whispers out there that he was possibly dead, being tortured. So he's okay, thank goodness. So go follow Gonzalo Lira. He's doing a great job in Ukraine, and thank goodness he is alive. And the other good news, guys, is that as of yesterday, one of my favorite commentators joined one of my favorite newspapers. So Lee Camp announced yesterday that he is now joining Mint Press News with Behind the Headlines, which is their streaming service where they put out a bunch of stuff like that. So if you know anything about this show, I love both those content creators, so this makes me very happy, but the only way they're going to be able to keep Lee on for his own show, which is going to be called The Most Censored News, which is hilarious if you know anything about what's happened to Lee lately. So it's going to be shorter videos, sort of the way I do my videos, very much like Redacted Tonight minus the interviews and stuff like that, but it's going to be great. That's dude, Lee joining Mint Press News is like if I found out that Chris Hedges is going to start doing a column for Gray Zone. I'd be like, oh, yeah, shut up and take my money. Anyway, so that's what I think you should do. Go to Mint Press News. They're going to need donations, and they're a great newspaper just to begin with. But to keep Lee going on Mint Press News, they're going to need some donations. So I would just go sub to them. It's well worth the money. I've been reading Mint Press News for years now. One of my top 2 favorite papers, basically, on the face of the planet. So that is awesome news. Congratulations, Lee. He's doing even better work, I would say now. He's kind of gone into overdrive and completely unleashed on Moment of Clarity, and it makes me happy to see him collaborating with Mint Press News. That is great, great news. So there are some good things happening in the world of journalism. Highly recommend you go and, resub to Gonzalo Lira. Give Priti Patel a call or an email insisting that Julian not be extradited to the United States, because it's effectively a death sentence. And go sub to, and if you can, donate to Mint Press News, because this new show with Lee Camp is going to be fantastic. So keep fighting that good fight out there, guys. Protect our journalists, and I will, in fact, be doing a little bit more of that today. I've got one more journalist I'd like to showcase either later today or tomorrow. I'll see you guys.